Boom! Hey everybody, it is July 25th. Is that right? July 25th? Oh my God. It's July 25th, 2012. My name is Dan Boul. I'm president of 65 Amps in North Hollywood, California. And I am sitting here today with my good friend and business associate, Arne Haast, who's in from Oslo, Norway. Hi, Arne. Thank you for coming, my friend.
Nice to be here.
Arne handles all of our Scandinavian business, and might I say, does a mighty fine job of doing so. As a matter of fact, last year, Arne was our largest independent dealer in Norway, which has, what, 4.5 million, 5 million people? And he outsold people in New York, London, Los Angeles. He's killing. Doing very good over there. Of course, the Norwegians have oil money, so they just buy nothing but the best. It's a little self-serving plug there, but it's very good. So Arne's also a great guitar player and has a couple of bands in Norway also. And Arne uses our stuff. And he's got a couple of rock and roll bands. He's got a Beatle tribute band. And he's also the person that turned us on to Lars Haugen. So for those of you, we had a lot of Lars Haugen fans here on the show. So for those of you that dig Lars is going to be here in a little over a month, right?
Yeah.
Mastering their new record. And we'll have Lars on the show as well. But today I have Jared Scharf's Monterey from Saturday Night Live. So those of you that watch the show know he's got the white tape there with his settings on it. And Jared was going to actually come today, but I think he's going to come next week. He's here for the summer. What does this say? Maybe my first live, if we get it to work. I like this online course. Okay. HMS Hood. I'm assuming you're in England, so hello. Did you guys watch The Daily Show last night?
It was hilarious.
Jon Stewart was having fun with the Brits. But, so yeah, nothing incredible going on. I got my little pedal board down here. We're going to make some noise, and also have a few very dusty Keeler pedals that have been sitting around the shop because we use them here a lot. I thought we'd share them with you later.
One of my favorites.
It's very weird sitting in here just talking to a little black box, isn't it?
Yeah. Why don't you...
It's a little unnerving.
In 2024, maybe the bandwidth could be like we could have a...
Takes a lot of bandwidth to do that.
Two-way going. Everybody sitting home with their webcams.
I already have a ridiculous internet connection here, and receiving data is one thing. Broadcasting a lot of data is another. And so in order to get... this is Rob Keeler, who is out of Massachusetts, not Robert Keeley, who is in Oklahoma.
Yeah, check out his website. It's keelerdesigns.com.
There we go. I can put it up on here. It's very fun. I use, it's not here because I use it in my band. The purple one, what's it called? We're that tired.
Yeah. We've been horse riding, or we are going to horse ride, but we all have our kids at a barn where they horse ride. And
we just put them in a stall and run away.
Yeah, exactly.
It works. Oh, it censored the link. Oh, here, hang on a second. Allow links. Let's do it again. Push pedal. Yeah, that's the one. I use that. That is in my bag every time I play a gig. It's great. KeelerDesigns.com. Rob Keeler is also a super guy. I highly recommend him to do business with. Hey, what's up, Eric Yar? So we got some good friends on today. Sorry about the mess and the slapdash. We did the Monterey last week, which was FS75's Monterey that was here. And I got so much positive response from it. I thought I'd pull another one out. We just goof off and have fun and talk.
Is it me or we're not broadcasting?
By we, do you mean me? We're on. I can see us.
Hey, Jason.
Jason Barr over in the...
Jason Barr.
over in North Carolina from Elliott Guitars.
Yeah, we should bring out that Elliott we have in the back.
I got that one.
Oh yeah, got to tell it. That sounds amazing.
The Imperial Wii, or the Papal Wii. Oh, this is this guy who's on here is also named Frank B. 767-400. He is a pilot for. Are you a pilot for Delta, Frank? I forgot. I know you're. Or was it someone else? And he says, I took Norwegian in college and sadly remember nothing. Well, Arne can get you up to speed on the cuss words and stuff right away. So.
Yeah, I've been spending over a week teaching his kid Norwegian curse words. It's quite fun.
Yeah, my children can now cuss in Norwegian. It's really cool coming from a 7-year-old girl. She has no idea what she's saying. She's got.
Yeah, and I just walk around the house with a big grin.
I know I'm not supposed to say this, but I am. So we're on the Monterey here on the clean side. I'm just playing my trusty Strat that you guys all know. I can set it exactly like Jared sets it. We'll do this.
Yeah, by the way, we should mention that Miles Rose did his magic to this amplifier.
Oh yeah, I'll get to it. So we offer a service here for those of you that are interested. And Miles Rose does it for us. And it's called Blueprinting Your Amplifier. But you have to be here to do that. So what we'll do, tubes are a little bit variable. And each person kind of, if they have the option, will choose one tube over another because of the way it reacts. And Jared is kind of like me. He hits the guitar really hard. So the off-the-shelf EF86 that was on the front end of this amp was too gainy. Because when you hit the guitar hard, you don't really want gainy tubes because you can squish them. So he was squishing the one that was in here. So we just sent him a replacement tube without really checking it. So he came in and Miles blueprinted the whole amp for him. So we got it where he likes it. So I'm going to try to get him in next week to play it.
The good part about that is that I've heard this amplifier, and if you're sitting here in Norway considering buying a Monterey or already have bought a Monterey and want a killer sounding set of tubes to it, we could easily do that now. Our problem being in Norway and don't have the skills of Miles is
or the equipment.
Or the equipment, of course, is that we get hammered. We spend a lot of money just buying tubes that we reject because the quality is too poor. And also with a very hard current in Norway, power makes tubes go bad really quickly. So what we found out that works well with Jared's Monterey is that try to use really cold tubes. And actually both the Haugens, Lars Håvard and Aslag is using a high power Monterey, and Lars is using a low power Monterey and on tour, and we also put really low cold tubes in that one. It's I think the JJs are down to like 30-35, and that makes it sound really nice, clean, and it also deals extremely well with pedals. So this is an amplifier if you like. We highly recommend that you go for colder tubes in it. Of course, if you like to have a bigger reaction, crunch kind of sound when you hit it, if you hit it hard, we would recommend
this one gets
tubes.
pretty dirty though, and this is just with a single coil. Oh, I got the reverb pedal in here. Hold on a second. So the amp's only on 4, and this is exactly how Jared plays it on the show. And there's a question about his pedals. Does he keep the side chain this clean to use the pedals? I'm using his setup. So he uses the bump and the clean, I don't know if you've heard Saturday Night Live. He doesn't play super dirty on that show, and there's a lot of blue-eyed soul riffs where he's sitting around that kind of thing, which sounds like television soul, right? It's television R&B. So that's sort of your blackface clean. I put a little verb on it over here. Let's see if we get a little more. This is my Strymon reverb, and and kick into the bump. So he runs it kind of cold, and then we can add distortion on top of it. But there's no loop or anything on this amp because he's a, what's the word I'm looking for? A man.
Exactly. Although he plays tennis.
But he plays tennis like a man. He plays tennis with no shorts on.
Ooh.
No, just no shorts on.
No shorts on?
No shorts on at all. Ooh. It's just difficult because he's a New York guy. He doesn't have much of a tan. So the first couple days on the court really hurt. If you know what I'm talking about.
So somebody has trouble with their connection up in Oakland.
Not much I can do about that, brother.
Try to log in and out. Out and in.
But, so Jared uses a couple little pedals, and they're nothing special. He's one of those guys that likes to kind of just go and buy cheap pedals and find something that's cool and use it for a month and then try something else. And have you tried standing on your left foot? I don't know what that means, Eric. Talking to the guy in Oakland?
Internet.
Look at that. Cell AC1. That's not your cell, is it?
Is this my father? Is this my father's shell that's online?
Is this Shell Host? I do like
No.
Dan's new mic, or new to me. Nope, no working here.
Nay. He says nay.
Nay. It's another Norwegian. We have lots of Norwegians on here.
Yeah.
Probably because you sell buttloads of amps in Norway. Let me get I got too many things on here. Hold on a second. You guys don't need to see me with reading glasses on because it's only for things up close, and you guys are so far away.
For me, it's the other way around. I don't see shit without.
Between the two of us, we have one good pair of eyes.
Yeah.
So that's why he always rides shotgun with me. Can Arna play and sing us a song? Sure.
Yeah. It says the name of the song is "Fuck You, Jason."
No, gotta be careful. No hardcore cussing on here.
Oh, sorry, I'm in America.
That shit will get us in motherfucking trouble.
Okay.
No, we gotta be careful. It's not so much that I give a darn about cuss words, and I think 9 out of 10 people here wouldn't care at all. I just like to be cognizant of the 10% that don't like that stuff.
Okay,
So.
I apologize.
You know, cuss words don't mean much when it's not in your native language.
No.
And the U.S. is such a big, broad country that there's really, really different opinions on cuss words here. And some people just really don't like it. And while I don't agree with them, I respect that. So, and because I'm a dirty, foul-mouthed motherfucker myself. But at the same time, Doug Guillaume got censored. You were typing in cuss words, weren't you, Doug? That is funny. I know funny. That is funny. Yeah. It's part of the musical vocabulary. A few things drummers and bassists understand. You know, one of the things that I did with some friends is we did a Beatles band, only we tried to make all the songs dirty. And the name of the band was Beat the Beatles. And we did, I mean, you can take even the nicest, sweetest Beatles songs. Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. It's a wrong key, isn't it? So please Please fucking love me, dude. Wow, what a vulgar show we have going on already.
Like
okay, we're going to clean it up. I want to hold your censored. I love that. You know what I have to do with my kids now? Instead of saying cuss words, I have to say the word cuss.
Cuss.
So I go, what the cuss? Don't stick this up my cuss, because I am going to cuss you hard. But anyway, you guys get an idea of the gland. I want to hold your gland. That's good. So a lot of you guys call here and are looking for one of our amps that does a blackface thing. And out of all of our amps, this is the only one I'd recommend that gets close to a blackface thing. And I think it kind of does. What do you call a talented bass player? I don't know. What do you call a guitarist? Yeah. That's so rude. That is so rude. And that's why I like it. Poor bass. Are there any bass players on here today? Sound off if you're a bass player, because I have some really good bass players. I hate to do that too, because our sales guy's a really good bass player. Rich is one of those unusual guys who's actually plays the bass almost as well as people play guitar. There's Jørgen Einersen from Norway. Hey, what do you call a drummer that can keep time? I've never seen one. What is that? There's a little bit of a delay here, Arna, so sometimes the responses aren't quick. What do you call a drummer that can keep time? Not sure. Never seen one. Yeah, poor drummers. They really get it. The best bass player joke I ever heard was when we went out to Velvet Recording in Oslo. And it was it wasn't the other Lars. It was one of the other giant Vikings that live out there at the studio.
Shooter?
No. Dark-haired guy, one of the engineers.
Talef?
No, big guy. It wasn't Lars, the other Lars. I always forget his last name.
What's the tech? Talef? Hagen?
No. It was big guy. Big beard. He's kind of heavy guy. He was one of the guys living out there working on the board. So Arna took me out last time I was in Norway. We went out to Velvet Recording, which is the Haugen Brothers studio. I'll answer you in a second, Tony. Sorry. And we started telling musician jokes because it's the one thing all musicians, regardless of their nationality, can appreciate. So this huge, I don't know if you saw the videos I posted from Velvet last year, but there's all these gigantic Vikings there that live there. And they're just big, rough-looking guys, but they're all just the sweetest people in the world. And we were riding back into Oslo in Aslag's car, and we're telling all these jokes, and this guy hadn't said a word to anybody the whole time. I didn't know he could even speak. And he turns to me and he goes, a bass player walks in, a guy walks into a music store, goes to the counter and says, and the guy behind the counter says, oh, sure, 4-string or 5-string. That was good. I want to hang out with a head smart guy. I don't know what that means. You know, for bass players. Oh, that's a good question, Tony. The Apollo, we've done a couple times, and I had Dusty Wakeman play it. Because I'm a guitar player that plays bass, not really a bass player, if you know what I mean. Like, I can sit around and go. It sounds like a guitar player playing it. But, we should, though. I don't really usually have an Apollo hanging around. Everyone we build, we sell. Like, they just go out the door. I've never had one sitting around unless it's on the rack getting ready to be shipped. But, yeah, I can do that. And I'm going to bring Dusty over again. Actually, when Rich Ross is here, our sales guy, that guy can play bass. I don't know if you ever heard him, but he's really good.
He has a good gig, at least, so I guess it's good for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's just one of those guys, like, wow, okay, that's a real bass player. I dig him. Third Coast Guitar, hello. So I know it's a fascinating show so far. We're just kind of having a casual one, playing a little guitar, drinking some coffee. A little vitamin water. Talk amongst yourself. The Civil War. It was neither. We're having a little coffee clatch like they have in New York.
By the way, is there coffee on the mug?
There's coffee on. There's a pot going.
There's a pot going.
And you should be able to grab coffee.
Okay, if the audience excuses me, I'll grab some coffee.
Do you guys need any coffee while Arna goes out? Okay. The war between the states. Come on, y'all. The war of northern aggression. I just thought I'd give you some Monterey action because we don't really play this amp a lot on the show. It's really set up more as a touring thing. I'm going to heat this up a little bit because I think Jared runs it a little cold. But let me just turn it up a hair so I can get a little edge on the clean side. So you can see how bright and crunchy he runs it. He runs it really bright for television because in television they run a lot of compression because most people are listening on little speakers. So he gets a very bitey sound which comes across really well on TV, and this is it, you know. I can put a little compression on it down here. It's pretty cool, huh? I'll leave the compression on the clean side. This is my Strymon OB1 compressor. It's pretty smooth, isn't it? And I can hit the guitar really hard and it's fine. I'm just beating the crap out of this guitar.
Hey, you want to make me dance?
You want to dance?
Yeah,
You want to see Arna dance? It's my little Pete Townsend style right hand. Take it all the way up. Pretty dirty, huh? That's with a single coil too, so. Let me see. Let me cool this off just a hair. Good eye there, Chell. I don't have the camera right. The quote on my board is "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." That was Leonardo da Vinci. Which I tend to agree with.
I'm more up to Yngwie Malmsteen kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, now we're going to play some blues.
Yeah, but less is not more. More is more.
More is more. Yngwie, man, I don't know. That guy's running on 45 and we're all running on 33. You know what I mean? George Bush. Yeah, no, George Bush came up with the, hey, y'all, got another cold beer? Anyone playing Rickenbackers through 65s, this man right here does in his Beatles band, and I do too. I actually really love Rickenbackers. I like low output pickups to begin with.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about that because I have this early 90s 330-12, the vintage style, but although...
Talk into that guy.
Even though it is a vintage model, it comes with the hot pickups, which doesn't cater me much, at least.
Yeah.
So I've been running through several 65s. For that Beatles show, I have a London, I have a Tupelo, and an Empire. Or at that time I did. Now I have one more. Get into that later. but running around trying to have one amplifier do everything for the Beatles gig, which is pretty hard actually, but the London is for me the amplifier to go to for Rickenbackers.
Yeah, single gain stage is really pure.
Yeah, I later realized that the Tupelo also works out well, although it has more of a Fenderish chime to it.
Yeah.
So if you're going for that hardcore British sounding Rickenbacker thing, I would highly recommend the London. But what I also did...
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do the Beatles British chime, do the London. If you want to do the Byrds, 12-string kind of thing, Beach Boys, Byrds kind of 12-string, any of our 6v6 amps will do that.
Yeah, Tupelo or Monterey at least.
This one is really good for that.
Yeah, but also just to mention that since it's really hard to get parts from Rickenbacker in Norway, I had Jason Lawler starting to produce the toaster pickup again.
Yeah, because Rickenbacker quit. You can't even order those anymore.
Okay, that's probably the case.
Yeah, because they're brilliant.
But that pickup and we have it in stock if somebody wants to come in and have it.
Let me put your website up here really quick for everybody in Europe. All of you Norwegians know Arne, right? If you don't, you are making a mistake. That's his website. Arne is the man in Scandinavia, especially Norway, but if you're in Sweden, Finland, Denmark, etc., he will take excellent care of you. And he actually uses the gear and plays guitar.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the color channel is the channel to go to. I can't read your name.
That's Joe Riggio.
Joe Riggio. Yeah. 36012 on the color channel is perfect. Even better if you can get some low output pickups, in my opinion. But everything works. It's all about headroom. I like to have plenty of headroom when I play a Rickenbacker.
That's right. Yeah, you need it.
And it's also the amplifier that you don't need a compressor when you're using a Rickenbacker. Everybody I know uses a compressor when they play a Rickenbacker. On the London, just put the color channel on 3, boost off, and hit it hard. Sounds perfect.
Can you turn the cup slightly to show the logo better? Oh, speaking of which, we are starting to get our merch back online again because I know I have 1,000 requests for merch. So you're going to be able to buy them in dealers, and there'll be t-shirts and mugs and other stuff. So our girl, Laura Whitmore, who handles all of our marketing and stuff at Mad Sun, is doing that right now, and we're getting some prices together. So if you guys want to buy coffee mugs and t-shirts, we can do that.
Joe, I totally agree to that, but the cheap electric 12 Squire Vista doesn't go well with my Beatle dress.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And by dress, he means outfit.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, Arne's pretty prolific on Instagram. Arne's been hanging out here, and we're going to go down tonight and watch Brother Peter play down at the Pacific Amphitheater in Costa Mesa. He's playing with Cheryl in the new band, which is him and Audley Freed together.
And that's going to be a religious event for me because Audley Freed is one of my all-time favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
His time with the Black Crowes.
That was one of their highlights, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Luther is probably the most tasteful guitar player they
They're
had.
just really different, yeah.
But there's really difference. So check out Audley Freed's work with the Black Crowes if you're not aware of him.
Or look up his band, Cry of Love, which this is a good trivia question, and I think I might have done this before. But do you know what Cry of Love is? Why he named his band that? Does anybody know what Cry? I'll give you 30 seconds to tell me the answer to what Cry of Love means.
See you, Shell. Nice to meet you. Write me an email if it's...
Yeah. Where are you, Shell, in Norway? John Hyatt. No, Hendrix. That's right. Cry of Love was the album that Hendrix was working on when he died. And Oddly Freed is a mix of Jimi Hendrix and Albert Lee and all of these incredible guitar players. But Cry of Love, they did a very Hendrix feeling Southern rock thing that was just good. Go on to YouTube and just search for Cry of Love. And there's about 100 videos of them playing in bars about 15 years ago. And it's sick. I mean, it is so good. Oh, he's in Sweden.
Oh, okay.
In Stockholm, right on.
Yeah. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you.
Because Arne's living in Oslo right now.
Opening a new store in Oslo. So stay tuned.
And Oslo and Stockholm just really aren't that far apart,
Well,
are
it
they?
is, because Stockholm is on the far side of Sweden.
Do you have some mountains to get over?
At least a couple, I think. But
Yeah.
Gothenburg is like 3 or 4 hours away.
Yeah. But I mean, you can hop on a plane and be in Stockholm in an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, not that. Hour. Probably.
Hour, yeah. It's like from here to San Francisco or something like that. When is the opening, Arne? This will ruin me.
I don't know. To be honest, I wanted to sort out my whole living situations. As you all Norwegians know, getting a house in Oslo is a pain in the butt. But I bought a house. I'm actually having some vacation from the belt sander right now.
Oh yeah, that's
getting
right.
back in a week. Doing that. Gonna be doing that whole of August if I'm hard to reach. You know why?
But you have a big stock up in Kristiansand, right?
Yeah, we have a big stock up in Kristiansand. That's the main store still. But hopefully September, October will be up and running one way or another. I have some stock with me in Oslo. I have my producer, which is kidnapped by Mr. Haugen at this point because he's recording his new album. So we're gonna make a big thing out of that this fall. Hellbliss is releasing a new album. It's all the guitars are recorded on a producer.
Yeah, he told me he used it almost exclusively on this record,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so if you want some really hot producer sounds, that's the...
And then what do you think Lars is going to think about that prototype?
I think he's gonna embrace it.
I think it's right up his alley. Yeah, it's kind of funny now that, you know, we do so much with the Haugens. We spend a lot of time when we're going through prototypes, and I think about, there's 5 or 6 guys that I always go, you know, I want to make sure that it's comfortable for them. And this one in particular, once we fired it up the first time, I went, oh, Lars is going to love this.
Yeah, I really like that new amplifier. It's how much can we tell about it here?
It runs on tubes.
It runs on tubes.
Electricity. Actually, we can tell a little bit. After much ribbing and grief that I've gotten from a lot of people, I decided to do an amp that's based on 6L6s. Because for the most part, I don't like 6L6s. I think the distortion is untenable. It's not musical to me. So I spent some time on the phone with Sergio over at Mercury Magnetics. Got a really nice transformer set, and it's again along the lines of the producer in that it's low voltage, high current. So that really frees up the options on tubes to use. As we've talked about many times on the show, modern tubes really don't like voltage, and they love current, whereas older tubes were kind of fine with voltage. It wasn't a big deal. And that's what all the old amps were designed around. They were designed around stuff that just doesn't exist anymore. So in a moment of clarity or whatever, it occurred to me that, well, 5 years from now, this problem's going to be worse than it is today. So if modern tubes love current and hate voltage, let's make them high current, low voltage. Little did I know, no one makes transformers for that. Because making a transformer that's high current is very expensive compared to one that's high voltage. So anyway, the big surprise was with EL34s on the producer was that, wow, we got a really great clean sound out of EL34s that I have not heard before out of an EL34 amp. So it made it really useful. It also means you can put any EL34 tubes in there. It's going to sound pretty good because they're just bathed in rich current. You know, they're just swimming in beautiful electricity. And so the reverse was true with 6L6s when I tried that. I found out, wow, I can get a really nice distortion out of 6L6s that I've never heard before. And the clean sound is just beautiful. I get this big, fat, girthy, rich, clean sound that's so harmonically complete. And I got a distortion that's really good. It's kind of funny. The first time we fired up the prototype, I flipped it over to the dirty side. I fully expected it to sound like ass. And I just played a Les Paul through it, and I'm like, wow, that distortion's great. I wouldn't change a thing. So we kind of got lucky on that. And, you know, guys over at Mercury, of course, did a fantastic job doing what I requested. So it's turning out really good. We just need to polish it up and get the channels balanced and all those sorts of things. And I'm going to hope to get it out on some shows. I'll probably have it on this show. Probably in about 6 weeks, maybe. Something like that. And you will dig it, I promise. And it makes the phone ring when I say it. But
so is it okay if I drop a couple of bombs regarding my impression of it?
Sure, yeah, that's fine, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not trying to step over Dan here, dropping all his new products, but which probably a lot of you guys know, I'm a huge Rolling Stone fan, and
it does that.
And the clean channel, which will, and I will say this, I know I'm gonna have to repeat myself endlessly on that, to customers calling when they see that there's a 6L6 amplifier coming. The clean side just made me go, wow, here you got the perfect low wattage.
Well, that's the thing with the high current.
Yeah.
I mean, the tubes are just bathing in rich AC. They perform so well. It's amazing.
So me wanting, I've been gigging a lot before. Before I got my first London, I was actually playing a 57 Twin, the custom shop reissue ones, and that's an amplifier that makes me really happy, because it doesn't sound super clean, which is not my thing anyway, and it also has that headroom that it does pedals really well, like fuzz boxes and boosts and delay. So my first 3 chords on that one was, okay, I'm gonna tune this guitar in G and just play the shit out of it. So the clean side on that amplifier really got me think of a low powered Tweed, but at the right voltage. Very useful for gigs. The gain side on it is like totally Americana slide, Allman Brothers kind of thing.
Yeah. But it's very sweet and smooth. It doesn't get out of hand. It's not raspy or ratty or odd order harmonics at all. It's really sweet. Hey, Justin, I didn't know you were here, man. Justin Magana says, so you're saying, oh, you're putting words in my mouth now. You're saying that you don't like fixed bias 6L6 distortion. You know, I'm not even so much worried about the bias. I'm really not a fan of 6L6 distortion to begin with. You know, I've heard other people play 6L6 amps dirty, and it sounded good. When I play it, I'm never happy with it. So
well, just let us all be honest here and say that people that build 6L6 amplifiers build clean amplifiers.
They build Fenders.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is not a Fender. The circuit's not a Fender at all.
So I mean, at least for myself, and I know you and your playing, we're not the typical guy that would pick up a 6L6 amplifier for starters. So. And
I've bought a bunch of them in my life thinking, wow, you know, this guy plays a Twin or this guy plays a whatever, and it sounds good. Maybe I should try it. And I get it, and the first thing I do is put 5881s or convert it over to EL34s.
Yeah.
Because I just get the distortion and just go, oh, God, it's just, wow, it makes me wince.
Yeah.
You know, it's just ratty sounding.
I'm more happy with the 5881s. I have actually a 64 Bassman. That's for sale, by the way. Which I got some really nice 1964 5881s, and it sounds way better, and it drops the voltage. But then again, we cater ourselves when it comes to...
Check those out.
Yeah.
No, pull them out. Have a look. They're great.
Really caters my and Dan's playing style, which is quite
rock and roll.
Quite rock and roll.
Yeah. But Arne, why do you use girl snooze? Oh shit!
So who?
That was your buddy Jorgen, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's the thing. Especially, I was not paying much attention to it, but all of my American friends were commenting me going around on trade shows doing business with this old black sheet out my mouth, and I can tell you, this is not girls' news. I used to.
We don't need to get into a tobacco
yeah,
conversation.
we need to do that. I need
we'll
to
focus on
myself.
that on a different show.
I need to defend myself here, because I was using a box of the boy snooze a day, but this shit is so powerful that I can have this for 2 days. So
there you go.
I'll have.
He's laughing his ass off over there. This is a good question here. Eric Yar says, "How do you feel about KT66s?" You know, it's KT66s and the like are sort of a mixed blessing. They sound great. They do one thing really, really well, and then they're not real versatile. They have a really cool sound. It's a very narrow palette that they have. But the biggest, and it's good when you get like the sweet spot on a KT66 is great. The biggest problem I have with KT66s and why we haven't done one is that there are no reliable KT66s on the market right now. I've tried it, you know, and I had a JTM45 clone that a friend of mine, George Metropolis, made for me. And man, I just blew them up.
Yeah.
Or they would fade after 3 or 4 hours of playing. I couldn't get the good sound. I have some old Mullard KT66s that I actually sold in that amp when I sold that amp that sounded fantastic, but a matched pair of Mullard KT66s is $800. And I just, you know, I didn't like it that much, to be honest with you. It sounded good, and you could do that blues breaker sound really nice. But that's just not where I live. You know, it was a little narrow for me. But if somebody was making a good KT66 right now, I would probably be more tempted because I'd do something other than an old circuit with it. But I just, you know, I can't find them. I've tried them every couple of years. We get them from all the major manufacturers, and yeah, that's right. Eric Yar says he sold his last pair of Gold Lions for $800. That's great. You know why they go for so much? Because there's not many good ones around, and they're hard to find. And there's not very many KT66 amps in the world because of that. Yeah. If it was a big, reliable, robust tube, everyone would be designing around it. Because that's why EL34s and 6L6s and 6V6s and EL84s have become the standard, because they're just by far in the best supply of good stuff.
My experience on KT66 is, if you want the best sounding tube of what's off the shelf today, it's the Gold Dragons from
the Chinese one, the Shiguang factory stuff.
Yeah, they're cheap and poorly built, but if you need to get decent sounding KT66, it's actually that one. But
have you compared it with NOS stuff side by side?
Yeah, I have, and it's just makes a laughing stock out of the whole thing. But we as a retailer need to cater everybody, and we want to qualify the best tubes for whatever we're selling. Actually, Colin Sørensen, which is Lars Tech, was the guy that recommended that particular brand. We were trying to do the JJs, but they're just
they're not good at all.
No, they're just a 6L6 in a different bottle. So if you're buying new KT66, try to get a good pair of the Gold Dragon stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty interesting. Neil in San Antonio says, what do you think has to happen for someone to make the quality tubes like those? Money. I know how to do it, and I actually would like to do it. I just got to get a lot of investment money.
Yeah, a money and a idealist. The thing is with tubes, it's when you're in manufacturing, you have to make the customer come back, and when you invest all that money in making good tubes, the customers won't come back because they will last forever also. So
well, yeah, sort of, but there's a huge market for it.
Yeah,
you know, there is that, but you figure about how many people own old tube amps in the world that you could go to and go, here, this is going to make your amp sound better, and it's the last set of tubes you're going to buy. You can sell them for significantly higher, and it would be a good value proposition. Like, I can go buy a pair of whatevers for $50, and I'll have to replace them again in 2 years. So if I came to you and said, here's a pair of our tubes, they're going to cost you $150, but you'll never have to replace them ever again. There's so many people not playing old amps or not enjoying amps. But then the other thing is, there's sort of a demand pull thing going on, or a demand push. Because if you could make good tubes, you could go to every manufacturer and go, here, these are going to make your amp sound better. And it's going to cut down your support time. It's going to cut down your returns. It's going to make your retailers happier. And if there are reliable, good tubes out there, I think people would be designing more stuff. Especially when you get into the hi-fi world.
Yeah.
You know, like if there are really good, reliable tubes, it wouldn't cost you $10,000 to have a tube power amp for your hi-fi. You know.
So we got a question here from Johan Olin, which is one of my good customers.
Okay.
It's far up there, but I want to just take him up on it.
Yes.
He asked if you guys were ever going to buy a single end amp.
You know, I've tried it, and I've got a really good sounding single-ended prototype, but the problem with single-ended amps is you can't get much money for them. And they don't really cost much less to build than a push-pull amp.
And whatever I try to say to my customers when they come in wanting a single amplifier is that, well, look at the 65 and their master voltage. You actually, if you're not really into that single and sound, but
right.
A lot of people that picks out single end amps do it because they have a home situation or a gigging situation that doesn't allow a lot of volume.
Right.
Believe me, the master voltage will cure all your pains, and you also have an amplifier that sounds and feels like an amplifier.
That's right. Well, because a single-ended amp has some pretty raunchy behavior, which unless you really want that behavior, if it's just volume, that's easy to overcome. But a single-ended amp is... squishy, and it doesn't have a lot of vocabulary. They're fun, but you can also go on eBay and buy old single-ended Voice of the Theater amps for $100 that sound great. So what is this? How do you feel about 5879s as opposed to EF86s? Well, the 5879 is a cool tube. I'm not comfortable using it because it's not in production anymore. No one makes one. And it's more microphonic than an EF86. I like the sound of it a lot. But, that's an old Wurlitzer tube that they used in jukeboxes, and then Gibson used them in the late 50s for a minute. They used them for like 2 years, and they quit using them because they had a lot of problems with them. It's a pentode like an EF86. I think the EF86 is more hi-fi. The EF86 comes from the hi-fi world, and Neumann mics used EF86s, etc. Whereas the 5879 comes from jukeboxes. Just a different thing. I built some amps with 5879s in them, and I can't buy them. All I can buy is NOS ones, so it's not a real smart business plan for me to do that because they'll run out. Also because Fred at Divided by 13 uses 5879s in his amps, and they sound great, and he does a really good job with them, and so I kind of dig Fred and what he's doing. And I think that's just his thing. It's not my thing. I'm not into American circuits that much. And he really is. Fred does the Fender stuff really well. And I'm a Marshall Vox kind of guy, Does that answer your question? That's right, Justin. It's no cheaper to build a single-ended amp. Nobody wants to pay $2,000 for a single-ended amp. It's just kind of not a smart way to spend your money. Fuzztone, what are your thoughts about Soviet tubes? Really inexpensive. Some of them are good, some of them are not. I like Soviet rectifiers a lot. The Russian rectifiers are really good. There's a couple of tubes that, the long plate spiral wound 12AX7 is a really cool tube. And I think that's very usable and fun. It's kind of a broad statement to say they're actually less prone to microphonics. It depends on how you're using them. The little short plate tubes don't get as microphonic because they're not passing a lot of information. They saturate a lot faster. And I know some engineers are going to argue with that, trust me. Plug in and see. Short plate tubes don't do much compared to long plate tubes. They are somewhat less tending to be microphonic, but they're also kind of dull. And the reason they're not as microphonic is they're not real responsive. They're built very tough, as you would expect Soviet sort of stuff to be, to withstand the Russian winter and invading hordes. Have you thought about putting a 65 logo on the amp using the Russian Nixies? Yeah. Yes, I've seen those. It's kind of cute. I don't know. All right, just throw it out there. How much startup money would one need to start a real tube company? About $5 to $8 million. I've done the math. I've actually written a business plan for it, and I'm just waiting on some patron to come along and say, here's the money. Go make tubes, young man. I think you'd get usuriously wealthy making correct tubes, and I know how to make them, and I have examples here in my desk of tubes that I want to make. And you can make them in the U.S. and meet the EPA standards. Bain Capital. No, not going to go to a VC group. Yeah, Bain. Got the winning numbers for the lottery. Yeah, it would be very fun. Yeah, FP Mike says, I've been having great luck with the long plate JJ12AX7 tubes in most everything I have. Yeah, that's one of my favorite preamp tubes. The long plates just sound better. And there's going to be a lot of people, as I do a little reading on the internet, a little lurking on the forums, and every time I say that, there's 3 or 4 guys from other amp companies that get on there because they only use short plate. Stop it. It's Michael DeTemple calling. I have to call him back. Michael, tune into the show. I'll have to call you back. DeTemple. But there's 3 or 4 guys, and I know who they are. They work for other amp companies. And the reason people try to talk you out of long plate tubes is because they take more work and they're more expensive. So if I wanted to build a standard grade pedestrian amp, I would put short plate tubes in it. I wouldn't have to do any work. I wouldn't have to do any grading. I could just stick them in. The amps would work. And some of you guys wouldn't tell the difference. And I could be apathetic and lazy like that, but that's not what I do.
So, since we're with the Monterey, and I know because of the sales number on this amplifier in my neck of the wood that we could try to educate the audience a little bit on what this amplifier actually does with different pickups. You're sitting here playing a Stratocaster.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for contrast. Those pickups are very unique sounding.
Yeah. So you've heard the Monterey with the Strat now.
It's Miles Rose.
Oh, I just wanted to get a shot of
Mr. Sneaky Carpet.
Jared's
Mr. Sneaky Pants.
Put your head up there, and we'll show everybody the face that does the blueprinting. Can you see Miles? Yeah, there's Miles.
Miles did the blueprinting on this amp.
One of the sweetest men in the whole world.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Let's see that. Well,
so this guitar is one of the best bolt-on guitars I've ever played.
You guys have seen this guitar, right? This is the Peter Stroud model Tone Master made by Elliott in the Carolinas. Andy Elliott, and Jason Barr is on here, who works with Andy. Extremely fine handmade guitar. And the paint job on this is done by a hot rod motorcycle shop in North Carolina. Yeah. And it's fantastic.
So, Sindre, if you're watching this, you know, have your guitar in my house in Oslo. It's just waiting for you to pick it up. I think you're on vacation now, but it still has your name on it.
Sindre Mater? How do you say his last name?
I wouldn't name drop his whole name, so I just say Sindre.
Sindre. Hey, there's Jason Barr. Hey, you're still on. Blown filter cap. Hey, that's Peter's guitar. Don't touch it. But no, this one's mine that Peter uses. Peter has a white one. This is Danny's guitar. So it's really cool if you think about it. Peter contributed to the design on this, and Andy made it sort of Peter's fantasy guitar. So it's got a big fat neck because Peter has hands like an orangutan. He's got like an extra knuckle on here. But the pickups are Jazzmaster, they're bobbins, but the pickup is actually a P90 wound on Jazzmaster bobbins. And it has a Telecaster string through bridge. So this guitar resonates like a mofo. And so it's a really hot P90 sound, which is extremely cool.
I play that one just recently because one of my favorite tunings is a drop D tuning. It's really fun to play with.
Got all that P90 joy when you roll the guitar back. Here's an interesting concept I'm going to throw out for discussion. To get clean sounds out of most good amps, you have to actually play the guitar. There, see these knobs on here? They actually work. And you can... I roll the guitar back up, go over to the bump. Stop letting out all the secrets. Yeah, I know. I have a lot of conversations with guys, and it's always kind of perplexing. You know, like when I switch between channels and, you know, the clean and the dirt and the blah, 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 I'm like, well, how are you playing? What kind of guitar are you playing? Oh, you know, a Les Paul. Okay, so when you go over to the clean side, what does it look like? Oh, the guitar's wide open and I just beat the hell out of it. I'm like, well, that's not really going to be clean. But you can listen to how gorgeous. I'm on the dirty side of this amp now and I can still get a clean sound.
And also one of
versus, hang on one second, just like, I mean, it's clean, right? You have to play the instrument. Anyway, go ahead, Arno. Sorry, I cut you off there.
That's also one of the things that I really appreciate gigging with 65 amps, because especially when I did that Beatles gig, and I used my London mainly, and I had like the Rickenbacker 330-12. I had a 62 Gretsch, custom shop Les Paul, and a custom shop SG. That was my four main guitars for that gig, and I didn't have to touch the amplifier at all between songs. We had like, it was an event show, so we had like 20 seconds between every song. So the only thing I needed to do when I played a Gretsch was to, because it has the Hylotrons on it, was just to give the volume a kick. But except for that, I swapped guitars without touching anything, and it's really comfortable. And I think that statement comes alive when you see that Dan just swapped from the custom shop Strat over to this Elliott Tonemaster. It sounds great. Just
I haven't touched the amp other than a standby switch.
so they cater every guitar. I mean, we have some customers complaining when they play the Tom Anderson Strat with a high output humbucker sound and all that kind of stuff, that it doesn't get the clean sound that you kind of expect. But I wouldn't call that the amplifier's fault, if you know what I mean. It's
You got to play the instrument.
yeah, such.
That's like saying my Mac truck doesn't really corner very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mac truck.
Yeah, I think it's all about knowledge about what kind of guitar you have and what kind of amplifier you plug it into. But if you're onto like standard guitars, well-built guitars, which everybody knows, I mean, impedance is always something that you have to fight with, especially going from a Gretsch to a Les Paul with humbuckers on it. But as long as you're below the 9K impedance limit, every 65 amp in the world would make you happy without giving you any trouble.
Well, you can even go higher than that. You just got to be able to play the instrument.
Yeah.
You got to be able to handle that. You know, having a big pickup that goes roar is great, but you know, to ask that same beast to then go, you know, is quite a different thing. You got to be able to play the guitar. But I'm still on the dirty side of this amp, and we're.
Oh, by the way, you played Stairway to Heaven.
I know it was a joke.
That's a quarter in the curse yard. Yeah, right hand dynamics. That's
Well, you don't have to run your guitar wide open all the time.
No.
Like I had this happen at my last gig. The guy that was filling in on the board was a DJ. That was hard enough. But so we're sound checking, and he's like, "Your guitar player's got to turn way down." I'm like, "No, we don't. First off, I don't care what a DJ thinks about our sound, but we sound check with everything up, so we're looking for feedback. Now watch. Look, because I was sound checking like." Just to make sure that we could sing over it and it wasn't feeding back. But then when the song starts, I actually go down. You know, and then boom, you don't need a pedal because you actually jump over the band when you do that.
Yeah, I had 30 weekends of gigging last year, and I had the same conversation all 30 sound checks. Just
no, we have to sound check at full volume.
Yeah, that's
so you make sure the PA's not going to go nuts. But I mean, you can do that on the guitar. That's why there's a volume knob on it. Otherwise, you just don't even need it.
Yeah,
you can actually just play. And
so just to carry on with that thing with you don't have to touch your amplifier when you switch guitars. Just plug in that Les Paul.
Sure.
But a fair warning, that's a very dark Les Paul. So
yeah, it's really dark.
So
I heard this song last week. I still can't get it out of my head. Les Paul for contrast, and then we can switch over to a Telecaster. Yeah, if you can actually, you know, have some facility with the instrument. It only has 4 knobs on it. I think you can handle it. there you go.
Yeah, and also you can do my favorite setting on the Les Paul if you put it in the center position.
Do the Jimmy Page thing.
Yeah, and turn the volume down to 7.
So it sounds like a Les Paul, right? It doesn't just sound like another guitar. But yeah, you can do the this sort of thing. A little woofy in the headphones. I don't know how it's coming across there. Quite a contrast, right? Dan, do you use the treble bleed volume mod on any of your guitars? No, on my Les Paul I use the 57 wiring, the 57 carriage, and that kind of does the same thing. But I don't really need to. If you wire them correctly, you can get where it doesn't get too muddy when you go down. If you use a modern wiring harness, then you have to put a cap on there to allow the treble through when you go through. But I use the old school wiring, the 57 wiring. So.
And also, if you guys like to play with guitar electronics, I saw somebody was posting a link to a company I haven't been working with, but we have a very good and healthy relationship with RS Guitar Works, and
they're great.
Their replacement kits for any Gibson or Fender is just amazing. I use it on all my guitars, and it just puts the dot over the I.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, I mean, they're kind of giving you what you used to get in guitars.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not like revolutionary. It's more like returning back to what it's supposed to be.
Well, you buy like a $5,000-$6,000 Les Paul or whatever, and you get electronics that's the same as the $1,000.
As the Epiphones.
Yeah. I think for every musician that wants the best out of his gear, is sort of a thing you need. So we try to offer it to all our customers when they buy a guitar. We'll just put it in there for a small fee.
That's right. What pedal is that on your desk near your mug? Oh, that's a prototype. Color Boost. The Big Boost. Yeah, we've gone way beyond that, but...
Tell them about those tubes on your desk.
Oh yeah, I was showing those to Arna a minute ago because we were talking about...
It looks like the same tubes that I have in my 64 Bassman.
These are what you should use if you want 5881s. My personal favorites.
There we go.
Is that any kind of an indication of possible things to come?
No. No. This means that this is going to go in one of my old amps. Because our good friend Robert Farwell brought me in a pair of perfectly matched NOS Tungsol 5881s from the late 50s that sound like heaven. I'm just saying, they're freaking good.
Yet again, we need to have a talk when I get back to Oslo about guitars to plug into a 65 amp. My experience is with the guitars you're mentioning here is that they're great built guitars, and they're built for guys that plays in a studio and in very controlled settings. We have a lot of customers that plays that kind of guitars you're mentioning with a 65 amp with great success. But in my opinion, playing them is that they sound way too sterile to get out the full potential in a 65 amp.
They're very controlled, you know.
Yeah, they're very controlled. They're very subtle. I honestly and truly respect the guys that are playing them. Lars is one of them who plays it, Tom Anderson, but he just plays the shit out of it. You need to play really hard, and I think actually...
Yeah, when I sat in with Lars's band, when I sat in with The Truth up there, and I played his Paul Reed Smith, it was on. I was on an autopilot.
Yeah.
You know, heavy strings, really nice low action. It was perfect, but I couldn't take any chances on that guitar.
Yeah, you need to
unless
play
you're Lars. Unless you're Lars Haugen.
Yeah.
Because I was trying just to do simple things, you know, just to get a little bit of, you know, just getting that extra sort of stuff. The guitar was so perfect that I didn't feel comfortable doing it. Whereas this one's kind of a beater. It's a nice Les Paul, but it's just a beater.
So to answer, or just to give you my 2 cents on getting a I don't know the English word, but to just get the whole thing with a guitar like that and a 65 amp, you just need to play the shit out of it more than you would have to do on a Les Paul or a...
Well, you'd have to play the instrument. That's sort of the central theme today, is you have to actually be able to play the instrument.
Yeah.
You know, just for example, if you want to run out, there's that green Japanese Strat out there. It's a mid-'80s Japanese reissue Strat. Even the nut's broken on it. The nut on the low A string is a piece of a business card. You know, like it's a total beater, and I can play it on here and it sounds great, you know, because you can... Yeah, if you want to. I'll just show you for contrast.
But we actually have a used Tyler in stock that I plugged into an Empire at the shop when I was up there last time, and actually come to realize what I was kind of suspecting, that okay, you just need to make an extra effort to play this guitar, and with my skills, which is sloppy plus,
he's being humble,
with a guitar that's not really forgiving when it comes to sloppy playing, because they're so controlled, and you need to tame it in a different way, or you just have to ride the beast in a way that I'm not used to ride it. So
yeah.
But it, of course it works, but it's just a different language. You need to play the guitar.
Well, the thing too, because you know I used to teach a lot, and one of the things that people never quite realize is that they're stronger than a guitar. So a lot of people are afraid to...
Is he being ironic now, or what?
I don't know. Jorgen, Swedes, man. I don't. Your guy's sense of humor is...
Oh, he's Norwegian, actually.
I thought he was the guy that was in Stockholm. No, that was Kjell.
He wasn't ironic. Kjell, or Jorgen, whenever I'm in Oslo next week, how about coffee?
Thank you.
I would love to meet you. I really love to have a chat with you.
All right, so here we went from, you know, handmade, boutique-y, cool-ass guitars to this is a beater. This is a 1985 Japanese reissue of a 50 or 62 Strat. Yeah, look at the nut. I mean, we filled in glue and paper in there. It's just a shop guitar.
Let's do that when we're back.
And this is just a Stratty Strat. There's nothing going on, but But anyway, so the thing I used to try to convince students is like, take yourself away from the mindset of, oh, I can't play 11s, or oh, I can't hit the tremolo bar like Jeff Beck does, or I'm not good enough to try to do these things. That's complete horseshit. This is a little piece of wire. You know, go for it, try it. You'll be astonished at how easy it is if you actually focus on, okay, now I'm going to master the finesse elements of playing guitar. Not just sitting around going, yeah, great, whatever. That doesn't come in handy when you're trying to play a gig. And yeah, Jason, I'll bring the tele. I'm still waiting on that bridge pickup from you guys. Can you send that pretty, please? Because pretty, please. You guys will all be astonished at how you can stick your pinky out and get this. So I'm on the gainy side of the amp with the volume on 3, right? And I can do... and then go... right back down to... you don't need, like 36 knobs and 24 switches so that you can punch into every sound you can just get on the guitar. Yes, I'm too lazy to roll my volume knob or switch a pickup, so I want a channel to do that for me. All that is just a mess. I mean, you're trying to figure out how to dial in an amp with 36 knobs and 24 switches, and it's all right there. Good. What does Eric Johnson play? Straight input Marshall. How does he do that? How does he get all those sounds? Oh my God, he plays the instrument. What does Jeff Beck do?
Roy Buchanan with his Telecaster.
Yeah, Roy Buchanan. I mean, you can just go the list. All the virtuoso guitar players are not playing 4-channel 36 knob amps. You don't need to. It's just a waste of time, in my humble opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. See, listen, it's even got dirty pots. That's why simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, because you have to play the darn guitar. So I think we're verging on being rude with that concept, but
yeah. Well, let's cater Mr. Jason and plug in and tell him.
Yeah.
So guys, any questions? I'm not gonna be here next week, of course. So if you guys have any questions for me at this point, I think it's time to ask it.
Yeah, because we're going to go get lunch in a minute. Because it is lunch with Dan Boul.
Sushi or Mexican today?
Depends on who's buying. You buying?
I can buy.
Sushi.
Okay. No, that's not Fender pickups. It's Elliot's.
No, actually, I pulled the Elliott out of the bridge. I put this one in here for an experiment because I had an artist coming into town that was using this pickup, and I wanted to make sure I got it right. It's a Duncan vintage stack.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have the coil tap on it, so it's actually just a humbucker. But this is an Elliott guitar, if you can see that well. This is an Elliott guitar, just like that big gold one I was playing, made in North Carolina. And yeah, I know, Jason. Andy's told me about these new pickups, and I really want to hear them. But I had a guy, Brian Layson, who plays with Dierks Bentley, came into town, and they were playing on the Ellen show, and I wanted to just get a telly to sound similar to what he was doing, so we could dial it in for him. It's actually a pretty good pickup for an off-the-shelf Duncan. It's not even custom shop. But Andy's making me a new bridge pickup that's supposedly fantastic, from what I hear.
Tellywhacker.
The Tellywhacker, yes, that's it. Eric Yar says, might you be around later so I can drop off those CDs I emailed you about? You know what? We're going to go to lunch here shortly, and then Arna and I have to be somewhere at 4. So it'll be a narrow window today. We'll be around tomorrow. But you're welcome to come by even if I'm not here, Eric. It's fine.
Tomorrow we are going horse riding.
Yeah, we'll be gone in the morning.
Yeah. And some of us might not come back.
Come in walking like Yosemite Sam.
Yeah. If I...
Oh, we're doing that after going out to see Peter tonight, too. Ooh, that's going to be fun.
What's that?
We're going to go see Peter tonight.
Yeah.
And then get up in the morning and go on a big, long trail.
It's going to be fun. So if somebody in the LA area has a pair of cowboy boots in size 11.5, 12 to borrow me for tomorrow morning, I would buy a lunch.
understand this right? A guy comes all the way here from Norway to ride a horse in Los Angeles?
Yes.
I'm gonna ride with these shoes.
No, you're not. We're going to get you some boots, man. You're just going to have to throw it. Look, man, after what you spent last night on shampoo, you needed some boots. You need some boots. Man.
$800 in shampoos. Well,
I guess in Norway it's really expensive to wash your hair.
You can tell me about that.
I mean, yeah, some sneak advertising here. If you want your hair to look good, use Aveda products.
There you go. I even go down to the cleaner side. It's a little too clean. But yeah, man, you get it. Ooh, out of tune. Anyway, the Monterey, man, it's very flexible, very cool. This is the one you see when you see Jared on stage. You see his little white tape they put on there for his settings because... what is this? Keef. Sure, we can do... Here, wait a second. Might as well do it while we're here.
Can't you hear me now, Ken?
Not in tune, am I? Yeah, it works. Ladies and gentlemen, the 65 Monterey. Yay! Boop, 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 boop. He was great and right hand pinky. Yeah, the volume knob's part of the guitar. You know, it's like when you're playing the organ, you know, the Hammond guys, their volume goes up and down. And when you play a trumpet, sometimes you play loud, sometimes you play soft. They actually put it on the sheet music. You play loud and you play soft. It's a novel concept. I think it's been around since Dirt. Yeah, you have to do it. Why am I not in tune? What other good open G tunes can we close with? Oh, you've got your... Close? Yeah, see if you can get it in better tune. I'm not hearing it for some reason. Because I'm hungry. I'm like the model on the cover of a magazine. Because she's hungry. She needs a cheeseburger. 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 Arna's a Black Crowes guy, as evidenced by the giant Black Crowes tattoo on his other arm.
Yeah, I'm not flashing that right now.
You're good, man. Go for it. It's a mess, I know. Whee! And on this happy note, I think we're going to go ahead and cut the show off here in a minute after Arna plays.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite tunings.
Nice. All right, fellas. Go ahead, you can keep playing. I'm just going to turn you down so I can talk over it.
Okay.
No, you keep going. We'll have outro music.
Outro music. Okay, now we have a script.
Yeah, that's it.
Fade out.
All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks a lot for showing up today. And I'll have this up on YouTube shortly with the ugliest sunglasses you've ever seen in your life. And, man, that amp is loud back there, isn't it?
It is.
I almost have it off in the mix and it's still coming through the vocal mic.
Yeah.
Really loud. All right, guys. Well, thank you for showing. Arna, thank you for showing up today.
Thanks for having me, Dan. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And again, anyone in Northern Europe, Scandinavia area, please talk to Arna. He's your guy. And he will get you taken care of with all of our stuff. And Jason Barr, seriously, send me that pickup, would you? I'm jonesing for it. I'm lonely. Later, nerds. All right, Justin. Justin gets it. Justin gets it. We are nerds. Absolutely. And we will see you next week, where I think Jared's going to come back and play his amp next week. Oh, there's another. Look how many Norwegians are on here.
Sure. Yeah, Tor, let's get drunk next week.
Is that my guy? Is that the guy I know? Your amp tech? No, that's Tura.
No.
That's a different guy.
You should say something in Norwegian.
Ja, tusen takk, alle sammen. Kjempekult at det er kjempekult å være her, rett og slett. Kjempekult å være i LA. God mat, god drikke, gode folk, masse god musikk, kult utstyr, slik vi liker. For den som ikke har e-postadressen min, så er det arne@vintagegitar.no hvis det er noe jeg kan hjelpe dere med, gitarrelatert eller bare god gammeldags fyll. Send meg en e-post, så gjør vi noe med.
How many times have I said that to my wife? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and log off. Thank you so much for spending time with us. I sincerely appreciate it. And we will see you next week. Later, fellas.